Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Ready, set, go.
Good day to everyone. This is the presentation of our group. So our first topic is the origin of Hallyu. Popular media in the region has attributed the origins of Hallyu to a couple of movies and TV dramas that were released in 1999. That gave Hallyu the public face as it became hugely successful across Southeast Asian countries. All of these became very popular not only in Korea but also in Singapore, Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, and Vietnam. The success of these entertainment products created a tremendous buzz about the exploding popularity of Korean culture.
Regional media sources were quick enough to pick up the cues and collectively announce the birth of Hallyu. Although this was the first public face of Hallyu, the actual origins go back further in time. Many pursued their education in these countries and others started their careers in the steam companies in Europe and the US before returning to Korea during the late 1990s. These Western-educated Koreans brought with them new perspectives of doing business, new subtleties and interpretations to art, cinema and music, and innovative forms of expression.
An immense pool of fresh, young, and highly qualified talents waiting to explore opportunities within Korea. The Asian financial crisis was a perfect storm of panic amid large regional economic challenges. In December 1997, the Korean government took out a loan of $97 billion from the IMF. One of the biggest consequences of the crisis within Korea was its effect of the Korean jobs.
Chaebols were highly diversified conglomerates that operated in literally every sector of the economy, from chip to ship making. The Asian financial crisis forced these chaebols to restructure their business models by divesting many of their business units and concentrating on their core competencies. President Kim Dae-jung pushed for the information technology and popular culture as the two key drivers for the future of Korea.
There was an increased emphasis on quality design, marketing, and branding on a global scale. In addition to that, Korea is one of the few countries worldwide that invests its funds into nation's startups. In 2012, the government funds constituted over 25% of all venture capital money in Korea. 1/3 of all venture capital in Korea is spent on the entertainment industry. All of the things occurred more or less during the same period in the mid-1990s.
A potent talent base of young and energetic Koreans on one hand, and a very conducive cultural environment in Korea, backed up by operational excellence. On the other, gave an excellent space for young Koreans to experiment with music, drama, and movies. Family dramas with a common sensitivity and cultural background, which appealed to a vast population of Asians, also become very popular, increasing the overall craze for Korean entertainment products. Many young local singers and bands adopted the US rap music to suit the Korean taste, and it emerged as a big reach. These entertainment products initiated the phenomenal growth of Hollywood.
Hallyu versus Hallyu. The fuzziness of Hallyu boundaries. Are the meaning and boundaries of Hallyu transparent? At first glance, little seems terribly opaque. Common descriptions of Hallyu tend to merge on the soaring in popularity of Korean television, dramas, films, music, as well as some idols' beauty products in foreign countries. Contrary to this descriptive clarity, however, few can confidently pinpoint the logic by which one determines what counts as Hallyu or what does not.
Every Korean TV drama a legitimate part of Hallyu, or only those commanding measure of commercial success in markets abroad? Similarly, is every Korean music genre a part of Hallyu, or only the particular types of known as K-pop? What about films, cartoons, and video games with a resounding domestic success but lukewarm international reception? If Hallyu is not an indiscriminating term referencing whatever in Korean popular culture, the next question one has to raise in applying the term is, who makes the standardization and by what standard? In fact, the answer is quite anti-dramatic. Much of it depends on the response overseas fans, regardless of the situation in Korea. After all, Hallyu is meant to signify the tidal wave of Korean popular cultures generated outside the Korea.
However, this does not offer a satisfactory answer to the conundrum of Hallyu's fuzzy boundary. Let's zoom out and take a microscopic view. Suppose Hallyu is a transitionally expanding current wherein cultural products of or from Korea by and large fervently sought after. One must ask then whether or not the Korean language boom in the Southeast Asia can be part of the phenomenon. And by the same token, whether or not the rising popularity of the Samsung Galaxy S-Class smartphones has a place in it.
Hallyu modules, products, K-drama, K-pop, films and games, foods, cosmetics, language, fashion and tourism, hypothetical flow of action, relation of pop culture to other aspects of human interest, biformity of Hallyu, content production and cultural production. Content production is the cultural formulation which is caused by the Korean state officials, electronic conglomerates, and media industry. Cultural production is known as the cultural formation which is created by fans and consumers outside Korea.
Cultural production. This happens to support the idea that Hallyu is not solely owned by Korea, but also by those who respond to it positively. Fans. The term is not enough to embody the scope effect they actually have on the K-pop industry and Hallyu. Here's the importance of social media in Hallyu. It enables the fans to stay connected to the personal lives of K-pop celebrities and to connect with other fans. There are also many times that idols interact with their fans through social media. This interaction gains attention, which helps to expand Korean waves reaching foreign countries that would otherwise not hear about it. YouTube allows more accessible content for the general public.
Next one is the growth of Hallyu. Hallyu has consistently and exponentially grown since 1999, when it surfaced a major cultural phenomenon. But the growth of this wave has not been totally spontaneous and unplanned. Today, South Korea conglomerates such as Samsung, LG, Hyundai, Amo Pacific, and Lotte are not just dominating the domestic scene, but also making significant strides in the regional, international, and even global environments, becoming a global export power and taking on more established global brands in their respective competitive industries and markets. The 5 major factors discussed above shape the cultural environment of Korea, which led to the birth of the Korean culture. Since the turn of the 21st century, Korea has emerged as a major exporter of popular culture and tourism, aspects which have been a significant part of its burgeoning economy. The Korean wave has become an influential global phenomenon since the start of the 21st century. There are 5 factors for maintaining the popularity of Hallyu and boosting its potential to expand into other markets.
Popularity of Korean brands. Well-known Korean brands like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG are currently in the world's top brands. Some of these brands were once criticized by foreign countries because they thought these brands were low quality. But now the Korean brands are on the top level. In a collective level, the acceptance of these brands in the international market has improved the overall perception of its country of origin.
Increase in R&D in design, production, and overall quality. This new emphasis has seen an increased investment in research and development in creating products of superior quality. The entertainment products like movies, music, dramas have been all described as having excellent production quality. Some of the most famous movies are My Sassy Girl, A Tale of Two Sisters, Winter Sonata, Miracle in Cell No. 7, Train to Busan, and many more. Korean music, or widely known as K-pop, is also known one of the most popular in the way. It mesmerized the world since 1990s till now, and thus not need to be a K-pop fan to have heard of bands like Big Bang, Super Junior, Psy, or Girls' Generation.
Effective management of all touchpoints. Touchpoints are the numerous instances where the customers come into contact with Hallyu. Large event organizers such as the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics and Winter Paralympics have also helped to build a more positive perception of Korea. Tourists were classified to have increased interest in South Korea, mainly due to their experience inside the country.
Continued support from the Korean government. Its budget is a staggering $5.5 billion with the aim to boost the economic growth, particularly through growing the country's cultural industry and export industry. The Korean government has been supporting the wave since it started. They even created the Ministry of Culture in Korea, which Korea might be included in the only countries in the world that has a Ministry of Culture. The Korean government has also built and opened Tay Culture Valley in Goyang. A Hallyu-inspired theme park is costed $1.2 billion.
There is lesser animosity towards Korea in Southeast Asian region. History, in a strange way, is positively aiding Korea and the growth of Hallyu. It means that Korea does not receive bad appraisal rate in different Asian countries. Asian countries can relate to Korea because they are the countries also colonized by the Japanese. Both past colonizer Japan and China are now also being dragged into the Hallyu. Korean cultural exports have been huge into Japan and China, which means they are able to relate more with the Korean cultural products and can relate more without underlying sense of animosity and hatred.
Next is the spillover of Hallyu. The cumulative effect of movies, music, dramas, and games has been tremendously positive to the Korean economy and to the Korean country image in the region. The spillover effect has been increased in the Korean economy and also contributed in the tourism as well. Some of the spillover effects of Hallyu on tourism in Korea includes
Rise of the Korean superstars. The main components of the Korean wave, movies, music, and dramas, has given birth to a new generation of Korean celebrities who have attained superstar status in the entire Southeast Asian countries, including Japan, China, Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Vietnam. This has given Koreans a great boost in their confidence as their stars are
increase in Korean tourism. Hallyu is keeping Korean tourism a shot in the arm and helped tremendously in repositioning the Korean country image globally. People from many countries have been flocking to Korea to experience the Korean culture firsthand. Korea earned $21.5 billion from tourism, attracting a total of 17.5 million tourists.
Last effect is improved Korean country image. Korean popular culture has had significant impact to the global fashion industry as an increasing number of Korean celebrities are included in the social fiber of fashion. All of that has started to change with the explosion of Hallyu. Hallyu has provided Korea with an excellent opportunity to showcase its diverse culture, people, its unique entertainment products, exotic locales, and pan-Asian superstars to the rest of the world, and thereby created a very strong brand Korea.
All these factors have had the unstinting support from the Korean government, all the artists, businessmen, as well as the Korean population. This collaborative effort has propelled Hallyu into a sustained cultural phenomenon rather than just a mere fad.
Future of Hallyu. Although Hallyu has sustained and grown for the last many years, carrying on into the future will be very challenging.
Future of Hallyu is one of the most anticipated moments in Korean history. In my perspective, the Korean wave can last even in the future, but it truly relies on the people whether it will continue or not. Some instances or aspects will cause changes in the wave. For me, Hallyu has influenced the world really well. Some things might be new, but it's nice to discover more in the future. There are many other good things in the Korean culture. We can learn and know more things about them if they will continue in the succeeding years.
Let's go, go, go. 내 앞엔 언제나 more. 순간 같은 거 feel like new. 고민